people are releasing a statement that is 100% factually incorrect, as much as they would like these things to be true, to support their emotional well-being, the statement they have released is 100% incorrect. It is 100% false. It is 100% misleading.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just to say, well, they're about to say
let me respond to that, Harry.
Pressure
let me respond to that.
Applied until such time as they back down.
Let me respond to that, because whether that's true or not true, I want to make a statement about that, and that is, there are people. Everyone in this world has an opinion, and their opinion is true to them. The way their belief system is true to them.
That just feeds the bullshit.
Of course,
that just feeds the bullshit.
Of course, it feeds the bullshit that you and I believe in.
Here's where the rubber hits the road.
But this is the problem. We have to have. Maybe we do have to have a society that within reason, and it's a big, like, reason is also one of those things that's hard to say. But within reason, everyone has to be right, and you can't say that someone's wrong, and say that their opinion is invalid. So your opinion's valid.
Okay. Here's an example of opinion.
Yeah.
Right? I like this shirt. You hate this shirt. Right?
That's all right.
That's an opinion. And we're okay with that. But if I say that this shirt has blue and purple stripes on it, and you go, no, Harry, they're brown and green, then we have a problem, because your opinion is not supported by the facts.
Yeah.
And when you have opinion,
I noticed a guy the other day that I was working with. He was wearing black nail polish, and I said to him, "Is this a bit of a thing? Because this is not the first time I've seen guys wearing black nail polish." And he says, "It's just the way I want to express myself." And okay, that's fine. That's up to you, the way you want to express yourself. I have no way of saying that that's right or wrong, but it's up to him. If he wants to call that black nail polish or blue nail polish or not even nail polish, it's up to a person if they want to call it stripes or polka dots or whatever they want to call it. No, and we just say, and if we're walking down the street, we just,
I cannot believe these words are coming out of your mouth.
Find us on Facebook. Just head to www.facebook.com/JAirRadio. That's 2 R's.
This goes back to
Radio.
This goes back to.
You've got to be kidding me.
Just listen
that
to
you
this.
are comfortable in that world where you go, oh well, you're prepared to ignore the facts. That's fine.
You and I love Ricky Gervais. He's a fantastic atheist. He's one of the biggest atheists in the world, right? And he was having an argument. What was it? 5 or so years ago.
God bless him.
God bless him. He was having an argument 5 years ago that if everything in this entire world, all the knowledge was absolutely destroyed and we went back to nothing, within 1,000 years we would have all of the science and all the mathematics back to what it is today. And so that's a belief, that's a system that he can have a belief in, right? As opposed to religion, where it would be, you would struggle to bring back a Torah, for example. Now, he said that the Big Bang started out from something minuscule, right? I learned from physics school on YouTube, one of your favorite places, that the Big Bang was not such a minuscule little thing. It was big. As in, it was a big blob of whatever the hell it was. So for, let's just say, 100 years, we thought the Big Bang was a tiny little singularity. And now it's not, right? If he wants to believe that that's what his idea of the beginning of the universe is, good luck to him. We have our belief. We can't say that. We can't say that what his idea is right or wrong, and he can't say what our idea is right or wrong.
Hold on.
Go on.
Because you and I also had a discussion about this previously, and it came down to the only reason science would make a comeback, right? Would we get the Torah in the same fashion? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, we might.
I'm going to say yes, because it has come from divine decree. But even if we had to wait a little bit longer to get it, the only reason maths would come back, science would come back, this system of inquiry would come back is because of human nature and that continual search for meaning and to make sense of this world. That has to come before any science. The science is only developed because of this constant search.
I'm just saying that anyone who
But for
wants
you
to
to
believe...
say you're happy to live in a world where the vast majority of people are comfortable ignoring the facts and ignoring the truth. If some guy wants to wear black nail polish,
you and
put it on him.
You and I subscribe and are agreeable to a set of norms that has come to be the convention in this world over time and history, right?
It's not even norms. It's this is
it's
true, it is
norms.
true.
No.
If it is not true, tell your story walking.
The Americans have their way of doing grammar and punctuation and spelling words, and we have our way.
Okay,
right?
but we can still communicate.
We can still communicate, but their dictionary
That's
is
where
not
opinion
going to
doesn't-
agree with our dictionary.
But that's where opinion doesn't matter, and there are some issues where opinion doesn't matter. You like the colour green, I like the colour red. It doesn't matter. But if you're going to try and tell me that there's a group of people in the Middle East that have been displaced since 1947
yeah.
because of our mob, I'm going to tell you to go and get well and truly, because that is not the case.
Okay, so you're entitled to feel that way.
I don't feel that way. These are the facts. There has been...
I agree with you, they're the facts.
So then what are you arguing with me for?
Because this
Hello,
other
sir.
group of...
I'm here for an argument. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
Because this
No, you're
other,
not. Well, this
this
isn't really
other
an
group
argument.
of people is entitled to their set of belief, even though we know it's wrong.
Therefore,
Yeah. And they
they're
think we're
not...
wrong.
Therefore, there is no entitlement to that belief.
But they think we're wrong.
It's...
So where do we go from there?
Because they refuse to... If you refuse to recognise the facts, if you refuse to recognise the actualities of history, then you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. And the problem is these days, people are saying whatever the hell they want on so many bloody topics that Mr. Average
I'm
out
not
there
disagreeing.
who wants to be a fair and reasonable
I
person
agree with
doesn't
you.
know which way is up anymore.
I agree with
so
you.
then just shut up after saying that. That's all you got to do. Harry, I agree with you.
No,
Thank you. That's it.
I agree with you that that's the way it should be.
That's the way it has to be in order for...
No, that isn't the way it has to be, obviously, because that's
Yeah,
reality.
We could go around just lying our asses off
Yes,
to each
people
other
do.
and pretending to be whatever we may
That's
not
why-
be.
That's why you have some asshole in the Fines Victoria who wants to say that I need to pay a ticket even though I bought a ticket.
That's a different matter. That's
It's
simply
not,
a matter
it's
of...
their opinion versus my opinion.
No, you have evidence to show that. Now what you've got to do is wade through all the bureaucratic crap so that it gets to the point where someone says, yes, based on these facts, based on this evidence, you have done what you said you have done.
I think that's why, like on times like Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, we talk about the ultimate true judge. Because here on this earth, everything is tainted. It's been tainted. Judgments
Only because
and
we
people's
allow...
belief system.
We allow it. Only because we've allowed
There are
it.
some things we can't do
If there are
anything
people-
about.
But if you're standing in front of
Amalek
someone...
is still going to be Amalek.
If you're
The
standing...
only way to get rid of Amalek is to destroy them. But they're never going to be destroyed.
If you are standing in front of someone who is clearly
Yeah.
hitting you up with bullshit, that's the time to stand up. Not to walk away and go, oh, they're entitled to their opinion.
Okay.
No.
So can we move on to something else?
I'm not going to buy into your bullshit on any subject at any point in time.
So let's just move into a new topic. But we'll go off on a tangent, strangely.
Because that's what we do.
The whole idea of never again. Everyone says never again. We get up and in solidarity we say never again.
And
What
yet
bloody bullshit
it happens
is this?
again and again and
because
again.
it happens again and again.
Yeah.
And the people who are saying never again are not doing anything physically, anything practically of any worth about it except mouthing epithets of never again.
But it's okay because their opinion is they don't want it to happen again. They don't have to do anything physically about it. We just have to support the whatever the frickin' cause is on any given day thanks to social media, because honestly, unless you're going to pick yourself up and take yourself to some other war-torn part of the world and grab a gun and fight side by side with these people, there is nothing you can do. And when we say never again, 9 times out of 10, it's our mob saying it about our mob.
It's our mob
saying it. You need to be using a microphone, Rabbi.
It's our mob saying it about... Right, it is!
It's just our mob saying it about our mob. So as long as it doesn't happen to us again, we recognise the fact that it's going to happen to somebody else somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen to us again. There is nothing I can physically do, let's say, other than jumping on a plane and going and fighting, whether I choose to take up the cause in Europe or take up the cause
maybe there are
for
things we
someone
can
in
do here.
Africa or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Right? There is nothing I can physically do. I mean, there are even laws preventing me from doing it.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe we can go and protest outside the Russian embassy here, or organise worldwide protests outside Russian embassies.
Yes, and within 48 hours, a report appears on the desk, dear Mr. Premier, people in Melbourne not very happy with you. Like,
well, has there been an outcry against Russia with people actually on the streets protesting?
Would it matter?
Maybe it would.
You think?
Maybe we, in the same way that they're invading Ukraine, maybe we can invade Russian embassies and consulates.
But you're talking about a guy who effectively his country's been shut down financially, and he's still going after 2 months.
Did you see he wants Poland and whoever else to pay for their gas in rubles?
Yeah.
In order to prop up their economy, obviously.
Yeah. He's going to try all sorts of things. This guy will not stop. He's a big fanboy of the Stalins, of the Lenins, of the despots
the
of the past of the past, and he will not stop until he is either dead or he has achieved his goal.
But it upsets me to keep saying never again, and there's nothing I can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. But it makes a lot of people feel better when they say it, when they put up a post on their social media. Oh, I'm united with whoever it is. Yeah, you're that united? Go over there. Right? Actually go do something voluntarily, whether it be, patching up wounded soldiers or, helping evacuate kids out of cities that are being bombed. Put your money where your mouth is.
It's a bit like that Aboriginal thing that we all say at the beginning of every,
Anapaka, brother?
No, at the beginning of all political speeches and all gatherings, someone has to say,
I recognise the
land. Mate, if you bloody recognise the land, give them your house.
Exactly.
But it's all rubbish. It's all epithets and...
Correct.
And word play.
Yep. Yeah, yep. Nobody
But I want to be able to do something about it, Harry.
Okay. So what do you have in mind?
Maybe we should organise protests against the Russian embassies.
Again, is
that
going to do anything?
No, probably not.
The only thing you can do
worldwide Russian
is actually go over there. How many Yidden in 1967 just jumped on aeroplanes and went to Israel?
Yeah.
By the time they got there, the war was the war was already over, but they got up and they went. Right? That's the only thing that's going to make a difference at this stage.
Yeah.
Maybe, God willing, things will settle down very shortly, and, we can send money, we can send aid, we can do all sorts of things that will make a difference to the people that are left. But whilst there is actual fighting going on, there's just nothing we can do about it. Right, so
it's been a very steamy evening, hasn't it?
Well, I can't believe some of the concepts you're trying to foist upon our poor, suffering, long-suffering listener. You've
I don't know.
absolutely done my head in.
I know I have.
That you're quite happy to vacillate to the whims and fancies of nut jobs.
Well, maybe when we were younger, we had this idea that everything should be black and white, and as we get older, and I turned 49 yesterday, that those edges have been dulled a little bit.
I think they would have only got harder.
Well, all of the hawks in the, like the generals in the Israeli army and all that, they became almost, pro-socialist and peace-loving prime ministers and presidents. Who shook hands with the enemy.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being a prime minister and being a general. Like, as a prime minister, you've got to be half a diplomat. Well, you have to be a diplomat as a prime minister. And whatever economic
But
system you think is
obviously
best
they
for
were
your
hawks when they were
country.
generals and when they were brigadiers and whatever
Exactly,
they were.
because they had to be. Their lives were at stake.
Yeah, but also I think it's just a matter of a time in
But
your life
I just can't believe
when you've had certain
you're
amounts of
prepared-
experiences.
you're prepared to acquiesce on such big issues.
It's just
Like, at
hard.
what
It's
point
hard
does it- at what
because
point
you
does
and
it
I have
end?
certain opinions.
At what point
It's
does
like
it end?
Sir John Monash, when he became the commander of the Allied forces. His whole way of dealing with army tactics changed. It was a new way. He did not believe that infantry should be cannon fodder, and he protected his men and women. So if it wasn't for change and people thinking differently, and I'm not saying all the time it's going to be correct or right, but if you don't have some changes or think differently...
I have no problem in people thinking differently. If people didn't think differently, we wouldn't have people who do research in all sorts of different areas and make new discoveries based on the evidence and facts that they've discovered. Right? I mean, how would you feel if all of a sudden there was a new treatment for whatever heinous disease it was, and the only reason it's been approved is because, well, the doctors, it'd be nice if it did work, but we're going to have to do it on, we're going to have to do this procedure on at least 1,000 people before we know if it actually works or not. Right?
Yeah, there are hard decisions to be made.
Right? I've got no problem with people thinking differently. I've got no problem with left-of-centre individuals. Right? For the most part, I am one. What I have a problem with are people who want to shout you down because not only do you not think like them, but then you're expecting them to provide the evidence to back up their argument, which they cannot do.
But do you realise the privilege of the last 100 years has brought you as a Jew? 100 years ago, you wouldn't have had the place to make your opinion heard. You wouldn't have the place.
100 years ago, I would have probably been living in it. Well, 100 years ago, I would not have been born. Let's be honest. We were only here due to the circumstances that
but your great-great-grandparents,
they were little shtetl dwellers.
But only because they weren't allowed to have professions in bigger industry.
But their world wasn't that big.
The world was plenty big enough 100 years ago. It's just that there wasn't a place for Jews.
There wasn't.
And now there is.
There was a place for.
And someone had to open the door for them.
But what there was a place for is the facts are the facts.
Well, they could have said that 100 bloody years ago. There were plenty of, there was that guy that said...
I don't understand the point you're trying to make here, Pesach. I don't understand why you're trying to make excuses for people to get away with Bubbermeisters.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that controversial. We shouldn't need to have radio stations making apologies for people who say men can't get pregnant. That should not be a controversial statement.
I'm going to say something.
There should not be a need for a radio station to make an apology.
Just calm down.
If someone turns around and says Zionism is intrinsic, is inherent, it is part of being Jewish. It's not a colonial thing that started in 1947.
A lot of these things are all about the person who can scream the loudest and the longest. It is,
It's just about
it's all a game.
Who are making
it's a game.
the noise.
It's a game.
But if you're prepared to acquiesce to that, we do not stand a chance against it. If you're prepared to go, yep, okay, fine, then don't expect anyone to stand up for you. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and wrong will never be right.
When the Torah was written, there were obviously men that dressed as women. Because the Torah banned it. Correct?
Yes.
Otherwise, why would the Torah have gone to the extent of even saying it if it wasn't in existence? So it must have been the case.
But I'm talking about on all these issues.
Well, I'm picking an issue because I can't argue against all of them, so I have to go with one.
Okay.
You want evidence, and I'm trying to give you some bloody evidence.
Okay, but let's not keep going to the same one.
Which one do you want to go to? I'm trying to pick one.
Okay, go.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've got to tell you about holes in a